Oh my God. All right, enough of that. Just messing around here, folks. You know how it is. There's no method to the madness. It's just pick up the guitar and try to find a tonal center. You know, play a chord, and then start expanding on it. What vibe do you want? You know. You want pretty major? You want minor? You know, it's just a matter of what vibe you want. What scene do you want? How are you feeling? You know, what do you feel like playing? What do you feel? So the title of this video is, I never get specific and talk about the titles of the videos, but this one I actually do have a little bit of a plan in mind, if you can imagine that. Thanks to everybody that made that last video so successful. I'm starting to get back in the game a little bit here, folks, so thanks for that. So this one is the big question. You know, do you really need music theory? I'm going to step out on a limb and say, to make music, you do not need music theory. You don't. But you want to know what you're doing to be able to communicate to others and to be able to find things out on your own. Here's the problem I have with theory coming first. It's almost like social media coming first and then gaining the 30 years of experience playing music. You know, one needs to come before the other almost, you know. And so with music theory, I think it's, if you start learning theory first before you can hear what rules need to be broken, if I may so boldly say that, I think that's where this all really starts to come into play here. So I think that, you know, when I learned to play when I was younger, I had no idea what was going on the guitar. As far as when I listened to records like, you know, Tony Rice and the Allman Brothers and Leonard Skinner and singer-songwriters, John Prine, Jackson Brown, Van Morrison, Bob Dylan, all these great songwriters. And I didn't know what music theory meant. I just knew that this music moves me, and that's it. And I just went in. And so we were putting the needle down on the record back then in the grooves to find the solo and learning a solo note for note. And if you don't get it, wake up the next day and you're excited to, what's that last note I need to, I can't figure it out. And then bam, you get it, and you're like, your ear, you don't know it yet, but your ear has just gone through the roof because you're training your ear to hear this stuff. So I think that's where the rubber meets the road. If you can hear this stuff first, then when you put the theory to it, it makes perfect sense, and you know what you're doing. It's like that old joke. Do you know music theory? Not enough to hurt my playing. I've gone to lessons to guys in Nashville that won't teach me music theory because they're like, man, we don't want to mess up what you're doing. I'm like, okay, well that's a compliment. I appreciate that. And I've learned to be comfortable and learned to accept my limited knowledge of music theory. But let's talk about music theory for just a second. I think it's very important to know what key you're in. I think it's important to find a tonal center before you start noodling around. I think it's really important to know how to find and build major chords. If I was going to say anything about music theory, you need to be able to find your triads. Right? They're everywhere. Those are all proper triads. Those are major chords, G major chords. That's not a proper triad. That's a power chord. That's a root, fifth, root. The other thing about that I wanted to say is all these big chords on the guitar, if they only they only contain 3 notes. The root, the 5th, and the 3rd. I'm talking about major chords. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. All your major chords all the way up the neck. All those notes, all those strings, there's still only 3 notes happening in all those to make up a major chord. They're just repeating themselves. This is a perfect example. That's a root, that's a 5th, that's a 3rd in the key of G. Well, if I play the next triad, that's the 5th and that's the 3rd from the previous triad. I'm just adding the root there. So now in this big chord, I've got root, 5th, 3rd, root, 5th, root. So let's go down. Root, 5th, root, 3rd, 5th, root. Well, I can get by with, I don't need 2 roots. There's only 1/3 in that big chord defining whether it's major or minor. It's the note that's B. So break that down. All I need is that. All I need is that. I could use that. That's a power chord. It's not defining whether it's major or minor. So if I played this, that's G minor. Same notes. The only thing that's changing in that big chord is that. That means if I play something out of that chord, the only note that changes is the 3rd is going down a half step. This is the fundamental approach to playing the guitar. And so in every one of those, you need to be able to find your root, 3rd, 5th. So as the inversion goes up the fingerboard on the next group, on one set of 3 strings, now there's my D-shaped G chord. There's the 3rd because root, 2nd, 3rd, up the major scale. There's my 3rd, there's my root, and there's my 5th because the major scale is just going. On each one of those strings, you can start the major scale from any of those notes and just go up. That's how the guitar is tuned. Okay, so there's a bunch of repeating going on. In the D shape, you've got your triads there. This one, this is all roots and 5ths, and then that's a triad. So the way to find the triads and know where your root, 3rd, 5th is it good to know the notes of the guitar? Absolutely. Learn all your notes. Know that that's an F, that's an F sharp, that's a G, that's an A flat, that's an A, that's a B flat, that's a B, that's a C, that's a C sharp, that's a D, that's a E flat, that's an E, that's an F. You gotta know that. Yeah, you want to know that so you know your chords and what key you're in. But here's the thing. If I want to find the root, 3rd, 5th, play the major scale starting on the root. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Next octave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Root, 2nd, 3rd, root, 3rd, root, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we played that D open, there's my root, 3rd, 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 5. There's a G major chord. If I want to play a G minor, flat the 3rd, G major 7, flat the root, G dominant 7, flat the root again. Those are your 4 major sounds. Major, minor, major 7, dominant 7. Okay, here's where things get skewed as far as I'm concerned. Okay, the more complex the chord is, one of these crazy, right? Or well, yeah, you gotta be more sophisticated with your outlinings of the chord. The more sophisticated and complex the subject matter gets, the more sophisticated and complex the vocabulary needs to get over said topic. I'm calling the topics the chords, the song, right? Here comes the train, of course. It never fails. And so we call that a very active track, the East Nashville alarm clock, which never wakes me up because I love the sound of a train. Play a train song, they used to say here in East Nashville. But so That's the theory you need. You need basic theory. As you get better, your theory knowledge is going to get better. And so mainly it's the ear. Your ear is so important to connect melodies and know what notes to resolve to and create the tension and release. You need to listen and know what you're hearing. Look, it's like looking at a recipe but never tasting the food, right? If you just know theory, and you can't hear it or you can't play it, you're not making music, then it's like looking at the recipe and having all the ingredients laid out and we're sitting there starving to death because there's no meal being cooked. Okay, well, our ears are starving because there's no musical meal being cooked. We have to make some music. I mean, so I know I'm going to get a lot of blowback on this video, which I hope I do. Come on, man. Let's get it going. But I'm telling you, man, 25 years living in Nashville, me and my buddies, I've never heard anybody talk about modes. I've never heard anybody talk about music theory. Nobody's ever asked me where I went to school. Nobody ever asked me if I knew, the Lydian or Phrygian mode. Nobody cares. They just want to know, are you going to be able to play something that makes this song better? Are you going to be able to play something that's appropriate behind this singer? And that's what you have to know. It's all about the song and the sonic backdrop that you're going for, And so, I don't, if somebody says, hey, you're a country guitar player. Oh, you're a rock guitar player. Oh, you're a shredder. It's like, oh, man, I don't want to be pigeonholed in any genre. Not that I can play everything, because I can't. We all know we have strengths and weaknesses, but I'm not a country guitar player. If it's a country song, I like to play country music. I like to play country guitar if it's a country song. If it's a blues song, I like to play the blues. If it's a rock song, I like to do my take on rock. If it's some Latin stuff, yeah, I want to go in these different areas of music that I love. I don't want to be pigeonholed into, hey, you're just a this or just a that. When you think of Jed Hughes or Tom Bukovac or something like that, you don't think of genres. You just think great musician. Because in Nashville, we've played all kinds of music, man. We've played all kinds of music. So this is not about me or my buddies or about Nashville, but it is about music theory. And so here's another thing. This is where things start getting weird to me. If somebody's playing a G dominant blues, that's a basic sound of the blues, right? That's the, that's the sound. That's the dominant 7 sound. It's a basic form of music, blues, country, rock and roll. The dominant 7 chord is not a sophisticated jazz chord, but you can't play just the pentatonic over that chord. You have to outline the major third, the flat 7, and the root. Right? When it changes chords, I go to the next chord, C. Go to D. C, G. So we're targeting these notes that fit for the style of music. So here's the problem. Somewhere along the line, somebody heard somebody say that the 5 chord always needs to be treated as the dominant chord, right? As a dominant chord. If you're in G, you play D7. Even if it's a pop song or a country song, the rhythm guitar player could be going, I'm still going to go, because it resolves back to the major third of G. Okay, great. This is all theory stuff, but it's simple. So the problem is, somebody said the 5 chord needs to be treated as a dominant chord, because if you do this, well, that note, that ain't gonna work. That works. The problem is, that doesn't mean that every dominant chord is a 5 chord. So if I'm playing a dominant blues in the key of G, I'm thinking G. I'm not thinking that that's the 5 of C. Why would I think that? I'm in the key of G. We're playing a blues. And anybody that knows what they're doing will argue that with you. I mean, that's the ear is the judge. G is the root. G is the foundation. You go to the 4 chord, you're just going to the 4 chord. It's a 4 dominant chord. The 5 is a dominant chord. So you're playing. I mean, those are the sounds that we love on records. And so we know that's right. So that's when the theory gets a little bizarre to me, is when people go, well, you're in the key of G, but really you're in the 2 of the 4 chord, or the 6 of the 5 chord, and then you got to play this and that. Well, guarantee you that whoever's playing that is not going to sound, it doesn't sound right, because you're locked into these rules that need to be broken. You know, playing this chord change. Sorry, I meant to do this. It's about these different intervals. So, right, you know. Once you start mapping that stuff out all over the place, your ear is going to hear it. Your hand's going to know how to make these shapes to access the sounds you want to be able to express yourself as a musician. Hey guys, I get fired up about this stuff because I want you to know that this is where I'm coming from, man. I mean, I love the freedom of not thinking too much about playing the guitar. I love not knowing that I hate math. I suck at math. I hated math in school. I hate it now. But music is math. But it also is a art form. It's freedom. It's a living, breathing thing that needs to have some energy and some danger to it. And so the theory stuff, I hear guys that not all of them, but a lot of guys that are thinking too much rather than playing with their balls or their heart. I can tell the difference, and so can everybody else. So, hey guys, I hope you crucify me for this lesson and throw some shit out there. I want to hear it. But I'm telling you right now, listen to what I'm saying, because I believe that it's a good path. I'm not saying you don't need music theory. I'm saying use your ear, use basic music theory as your progress goes. You don't want to have all theory and no heart. And you don't want to have all creativity and no theory. You got to have a nice balance of both. So guys, thanks a bunch. Light up the comments. Check out the links below. All the shit these YouTubers do, right? Let's do all the things. Anyway, thanks a bunch, guys, for putting up with my nasty, raw videos here. And we'll see you guys down the road real soon. Oh, I got to tell you this. I hope you watched till the end. Please subscribe. But the King of the Hill Season 14 is out now, and I played all the guitars on the whole soundtrack. Billy Strings has the song at the very end. I put the acoustic bands together with Paul Franklin, Sierra Hull, Molly Tuttle, Mike Bubb, Michael Cleveland. The GT Trio played the electric bits band-wise, and then I played all the segues on the electric. And I think John Frizzell might have played a couple things here and there, but mainly it's me on the Telecaster. And so thanks to Mike Judge and John Frizzell for calling me to play on the King of the Hill soundtrack, the new season. It's streaming on Hulu. It's #1 on Fox, #1 on Hulu, #1 in comedy, #1 in animation right now. King of the Hill, man, I'm so proud to be on that. I've loved that show and always wondered who played the guitar on there, and now I'm on there. And so I'm super proud and excited to be a part of that. Thank you guys. And telecasting to you from East Nashville. We even got a little train talk in. So thanks, guys. We'll see you down the road real soon. Dano casting from East Nashville. Over and out. All right, cheers.